I'm going to spend the next few videos discussing the Shard Bearers and their second phase transition, because for the most part, most of them have a second phase transition. They have some of them have cutscenes, some of them just have really big moments like Morgott or Moog or even Radahn. So, yeah, I feel like that would be fun and a good way to sort of deep dive into each respective character. The first one that I kind of want to talk about is Godrick the Grafted, sometimes called Godrick the Golden, but I think he's the only one that calls himself that. There's this creator on this app that I've recently found on my For You page, and I just recently followed him, called Bananaskins, where in some of his videos, he's been kind of doing a analysis on the voice acting of each character, and he points out in Godrick's dialogue that a lot of his dialogue is more sense around giving this presence and this show of strength rather than actually having strength. I encourage everyone to follow Bananaskins. I'm just going to read what he has on the top of his video for Godrick. Godrick's projection of inadequacy and desire for recognition. So, and that's something that is sort of to be said. It plays into his character. Now, he's speaking specifically to the opening cutscene that you have in the beginning of the phase, and more so, you'll have to watch the rest of the video to see what else he discusses. But regardless, there is this thing that he points out, or not so much points out, but it kind of gave me the thought of Godrick looks to other things to give him strength. That's why he's called Godrick the Grafted. For every strong opponent that he's defeated, he is probably grafted onto himself. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting is his opening dialogue, and again, this kind of feeds into what Bananaskins was talking about his inadequacies and just not being, and like what we know about him not being a strong opponent. The first thing that he says is, "Mighty dragon, thou art the true-born heir." First of all, you're calling the dragon a true-born heir, yet you are the great-grandson or the grandson of Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. So for him to, like, maybe he's just showing that sign of respect, but I always felt like after learning more about his character that he is more so just saying this thing is a true-born heir. I am nothing. I look at all these limbs I have attached to me, and I have no strength to show for it. But kind of, and this is where the phase transition kind of comes in. He cut, like, in the midst of us fighting him, and we don't really expect it, which is, I think, a better way to show it, because you just don't know what's going to happen. He's cutting off his own arm so that he can attach the head of the dragon to his arm, and he even says, "Lend me thy strength." So to me, I feel like this was probably his ultimate play to become more powerful. And, you know, he even calls upon his forefathers to bear witness. And, again, I think it speaks to, hey, everybody, look at how strong I am. Look how strong I am. I have the head of a dragon, a truly powerful being on this planet or on this earth, and I'm going to destroy this lowly tarnished. So again, I think a lot of it, he just gives me the vibe of like he's a bit of a bully, but like anyone who shows that they have even an ounce of strength more so than he does, he has to fall back on what he knows, which is grafting. And in this case, it backfired, because he insists that he is the lord of all that is golden, and yet when we rest at the grace, we see an NPC stomping on what is Godrick, and he's just this fragile being that's just nothing less but a husk, nothing but an upper torso and a head, and that's about it. And you have this low-ranking servant stomping on him in the dirt and mud. So again, I know it's a bit of a longer video, but you can't talk about the first phase without the second phase without talking about the first phase and what led up to it. And so, you know, to conclude all this, I find that Godrick was a weak lord, as we all know from the stories that we've heard, but his fight sort of shows it, because he leans on a lot of these things, whereas the other characters that we'll see later on, they use what they've learned to fight against us, with the exception of other characters, which we'll talk about later. Anyway, if you want to see more of this, like, comment, follow. I'll see you in the next one.